I think the depression that we feel is when we have surrendered ourselves to a story that's not ours, because culture, because our family, because it gives us this reward that's not the reward we're actually after. And talk about the billionaires who are not happy, right? They're like, man, money is like the highest reward. No, it's not. It may be a bridge. And if you are living under the poverty line, money can maybe buy you a little bit more happiness, but after a certain point, it actually breaks off at $90,000 a year. It does not gain you more happiness. In fact, the more money you have, it actually causes more worry about how it can drop down to nothing. Because I had all these plans for all that money, and then Bitcoin went to zero or something like that. You know what I mean? So I've met millionaires, centimillionaires, and billionaires. They all have just the same amount of fear for their money as the other. So a centimillionaire is like, I'll be happier and I'll feel more secure when I have $1 billion. No, you won't. No, you won't. You'll worry about $1 billion the same way you worry about $100 million. The same way a millionaire is like, I need $100 million so I can feel safe. So it's by really understanding that the confinement of our specific role in this theater of life, as well as the conflict that role nudges us up against, the antagonism, that is there for us. It's hard to flip that script. It's hard to know that asshole that just embarrassed you or humiliated you or whatever is God in disguise. It's hard to flip that script. But we are not a species that is just looking for the easy thing to do. We think we are. We think we're looking for convenience, but why are we not happy when we get to convenience land? I mean, look at America. You can go into any 7-Eleven every couple miles and you get however many slushies, however many flavors, however many candy bars. Are we happier as a country? I wouldn't say so. I'd say there's still a lot of war. There's still a lot of theft. I want what's yours, what I don't already have. Convenience does not get us to where we're going in our story. The pain, it really clarifies our vision. And when I said before, I feel like a lot of cultural pain is coming, that doesn't mean I think very bad times are coming where there's not going to be enough food and stuff like that. Stuff maybe happens, but I do believe what we are facing is there's a karmic debt that it needs to start getting paid down. Just like we have a national debt, like our karmic debt needs to get paid down to bring us back down to hummus, humility, earth. Bring us back down so we can put our feet on the ground. We're only living like fat cats because we found fossil fuels, and that peaked in the 70s. And things are going to change very rapidly for the poorest among us first, for Latin America and Bangladesh, who they have millions of people living in an area that cannot sustain themselves. So what happens when we can't send cargo ships of food over there anymore? They get hit first. We export all of our inflation. We export all of our pollution to other countries to do the manufacturing for us. That doesn't seem fair. It doesn't seem fair, but that is the pain and that's part of the story. Now, I'm not trying to tell people that like just find the beauty in it. That's all you have to do because that'll be part of this moral relativism. I'm not saying that. There really is meaning inside all of this. But if we don't start waking up, you can be caught in one of these very tricky situations because you were playing the wrong role. You didn't realize that the theater or the play itself shifted. And that's what I mean by there's a new story coming. The play is shifting. Act 3 is already upon us. The singularity or the climax is coming. And this is global. This is likely, if you look at the story of history, the first time ever that this will ever have happened. We've never had a confluence of crises that are all hitting at the same time. That's God's work. That's not just by mistake. That's God's work.
This is the mystery. And some of the proponents, like we had Mike Dillard on the show talking about the fourth turning, where it's like an 80-ish year cycle. But yet, if you look at Moore's Law, and this is what's most exciting that you're touching on, there's never before been this much access to information and this speed of consciousness in recorded history to which we know of.
Right.
That's the mystery and the secret key here that people love to project. People love to say, well, if you look at the trends, it shows that blah, 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 blah is going to happen. There's no fucking trend for where we are. AI has never existed on planet Earth that we know of, right? Never. We've never had access to information. Like, say what you want about him. Elon Musk, like he's developed technology where everyone can be connected to the internet in the world. I mean, think of like the lift that is, Ben, to like really put into practice. We have all this technology that's pushing and prodding and sifting and sorting and getting people to a point where if they choose to accept with a deep exhale the new story, then we can start doing this self-realization process of seeing that we've created a lot of the monsters that exist. And I think that's the rub or the double clutch, if you will, that we've been flinching on. Like one of my favorite guys in the world, Alan Watts, it's all retch and no vomit. Everybody keeps conditioning and training their children to raise their children, to raise their children, and no one ever actually throws up the poison. No one ever actually throws it up. I think this can be both painful, because when you have a experience, like as you know, whether it's ayahuasca or not, when you purify, when you throw up, it sucks. Y'all can relate. When you throw up, holy shit, that is not a good feeling. How amazing do you feel after the purge?
Right.
Oh my God, it's so liberating. So I think you're right. I think we're coming into this retch period, but I think after the throw up, there'll be this reorganization and reorientation of this world that Eisenstein and you are presenting here. I wonder now, it's 2025 and many things have happened by the time people have heard this podcast. What is the story that you see possible, and what is your voice in that story this year and beyond?
Yeah, so the new story that I feel like is emerging it's definitely one where we are far more connected than we've ever been. I mean, just look at how technology is connecting us. That means, think of after the printing press, how literacy rates went up. And everything I was saying about language is really, it's a tool and a technology for us to cohere, to understand one another, but also to cohere so we have a kind of unified directionality we can go in. This is perfect for story. This technology is perfect for story. Yes, there's some hiccups and some things we need to get over with, like surveillance, privacy, EMFs. I could go on and on. Like, people having access, children having access to maybe some things they shouldn't have access to yet. That's all part of the story. So I feel like that is going to get exacerbated. That's going to be a part of the new story, is now that this information and empirical, human wisdom has accumulated, now it starts to be unavoidable. Whereas before, you could avoid it if you wanted. You could avoid the empirical wisdom, just don't read books, right? Now, it's hard to get away from. Everybody has these devices. Even if you want to kind of hide and disappear, everyone's walking around with cameras pointed in all directions. And eventually, soon, unfortunately, I feel like what's going to be happening all around the world is we're all going to be living inside a device, meaning our cities are going to be called smart cities, then cognitive or C40 cities, where they're computing in and of themselves, and they're each running their own experiment in their own microcosm.
Whoa. So you love that episode? You'll love the one on the screen. Click it and enjoy.